So I'm not sure what day this update's going to come out because I am again doing some traveling, so I'm going to be editing this on the road, but I still want to get you an update, so let's get into it. Hey everybody, Matthew Moore's MM Wood Studios. Today is Monday, June 20th, which means it's time for another weekly shop update. So, what's been going on in the shop this week? Well, a lot. Just a lot. The table, well, she's got butterfly keys in her now, and she looks great. So, let me walk you through this, but before we do that, we've got a couple of really just quick announcements. The first one is, I have a class coming up with Popular Woodworking University again. It's the Gamble House side table project. Now, what's the big difference between taking this class at my school and taking it with Popular Woodworking? Well, at Popular Woodworking University, if you are already living in their world, so you subscribe to the magazine, you buy classes from them, maybe different articles or whatever, well, all of this lives within their world. So that's really awesome. So, same username, password, all that fun stuff. And with this, you also get a whole bunch of extra footage as well. There'll be a link in the description as how to jump over to Popular Woodworking site to sign up for that class. And the other cool thing too is you put in a question and I'll answer it and help you guys out. So head on over to Popular Woodworking University's website and check out the class. All right, so let's get into this bad boy here. So I had to make some butterfly keys, and that really is what visually brings the two tabletops together. I know structurally it's the supports that I worked on last week, but visually it's the butterfly keys. So let's talk about that. So of course, to start everything off, I had to mill up some lumber. So first off, at the bandsaw, after making some measurements, I cut off a piece of my entire board, making it smaller, and that's what I milled up at the jointer planer combo machine. With that milled up, I was able to cross cut and rip rough blanks for my dovetail keys. Now there are 6 keys in total here. Originally there were supposed to be 3 of the same size with 2 others down the center, changing size, and then 1 smaller one at the end, giving reinforcement to a crack. And that was the original plan, and I got, well, 5 of them in, and when I happened to be cutting a material on the 6th, which is the middle key, my router just ventured out a little bit too far. So what I ended up doing was coming up with using the formula I used to make these keys, with height, angle, all that stuff. I devised another key to fit in between. So I've got 2 starting at one size, and then we come up to larger sizes as we continue down the length of the table, all the way to the end over here. And I actually really like this look a lot. The original look was going to be great, but the way this is playing out here is just amazing. So I'm really happy with my small little mistake making a great design enhancement to the piece itself. So let me tell you guys how I make my butterfly keys. So I use a table saw to do this. And so long story short, I'm gonna have another video that really goes in depth into my butterfly keys. But just really quickly, what I end up doing is setting my angle on my table saw using an additional fence and a stop, and I just slowly creep up to the exact point where the blade would meet on both sides. Then I just remove material from one side, flip it over, move everything over just a touch, and make another pass. And that's how you get really nice and crisp dovetail keys off the table saw. And as I said, I'm in the middle of editing an excerpt from this chapter for you guys on YouTube to check out how I make my dovetail keys. Much more in depth than just my 30-second or less explanation right there. So once I had my dovetail keys, it was time to come over here and lay everything out. So I have 2 keys at the end. Both of them are 4 inches in, and to get the rest of the placements, because I like odd numbers, like I talked about last week, I believe, I divided by 4, and that gave me the centers of every single butterfly key along the length. And all I had to do is pull some baselines for the locations, make sure I'm in the baseline and I centered where they would, the two sides meet, and just knife out the outline of the key, and then with a router and a 1/4-inch spiral bit, removed a whole bunch of waste, and then just chisel back to it. And with that waste removed, with the butterfly key mortise made, then I mixed up some epoxy. Now, I like using dust from the tabletop itself to tint the epoxy to put that into my mortise. If there is any gaps, which we're absolutely striving for none, at least at the face, what you tend to do is back bevel a little bit towards the bottom, so it gives a place for the epoxy to go, and if there's any waste, any little pieces of wood, fibers that you forgot to take out, they'll go into those corners over there. Make sure that still allow your butterfly key to hit bottom. And for me, the depth of the mortises here is a 1/16 of an inch less than the total thickness of the butterfly key. And that way I can bring it down nice and level with a hand plane, maybe a little bit of scraping, and you get this beautiful surface here. So that's pretty much it for the work here in the shop this week. It was a lot. It really was a lot. It's only 6 keys, but I'll tell you, making them and doing the mortises and taking the time to get really nice chisel lines, or lines with my knife, and chiseling back to those lines nicely, takes a lot of concentration and time. So the table looks great, and I can't wait to keep moving on. So my question of the week to you guys is this: have you ever done something like this before? And if you did, how did you accomplish it? Let me know. I'm really curious. Leave those answers in the comments below. So, as always, please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit the like button, share it in your timeline, and head over to the MM Wood Studio page and like us there as well. And as always, have a great week in the shop.